Welcome to Matter of Action. I'm Peter Rykowski with the John Birch Society. We are dangerously close to an Article 5 convention that could revise the U.S. Constitution and wipe away our inalienable, God-given freedoms. However, our Stop a Constitutional Convention Action Project page has several powerful resources that you can use to influence your state legislators to oppose this dangerous scheme. I am joined today by JBS Research Project Manager Christian Gomez to discuss these tools. Thank you for coming on, Christian.
Thank you for having me, Peter.
So, first things first, what is the ConCon Action Project all about?
Yes, so at the John Birch Society, we have been long opposed to an Article 5 convention or a constitutional convention, which Black's Law Dictionary, in fact, they define a constitutional convention essentially as any convention designed to either amend, revise, or rewrite a constitution. And that's what the Article 5 convention process allows for. It's the Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution provides two ways to amend the U.S. Constitution, as you know. The first method is where both chambers of Congress propose amendments, pass out of the House and Senate, and then they transmit them to the states for ratification. Then once 3/4 of the states ratify, it becomes part of the Constitution. That's the way all 27 amendments of the Constitution, including the Bill of Rights, have been ratified. But there's a second method in Article 5 that calls for the states applying to Congress to call for a convention. Congress would make the call for the convention then, and then the states would send delegates, and then there they would propose either revisions or new amendments or potentially even a new constitution, because the delegates would be empowered as the sovereign representatives of the people to do so. And whatever they transmit, whatever comes out of there, they can choose their own method for ratification. Even though Article 5 does state it should be 3/4 of the states, but they could come up with their own method of ratification, which is exactly what happened in the Philadelphia Convention of 1787. So because of that risk I just implied, that we don't know what could come out of it, like Justice Scalia said, whoa, who knows what would come out of it in regards to a constitutional convention. JBS opposes a constitutional convention. So our action project is designed to educate people, both our members, others, and legislators, about the risks involved with convening a convention in this day and age. So our action project is entailed to prevent that from happening, to protect our Constitution.
So we have several new action packets that members can use to influence their legislators. So where can members find them?
Yes, so if you're on, first you have to go to jbs.org. Once you get to jbs.org, you can go to the Action Projects tab and click on the one that says Stop a Constitutional Convention. So you click on that one, and then you scroll a little bit down to where it says ConCon Action Tools. So once we're on the ConCon Action Tools page, we have little paragraphs here that describe the use of these tools. But here in red is the key part. Download the PDFs under Action Packets and Historical Resources for Legislative Testimonies below, and use them to create your own ConCon Action Packets for legislators and committee testimonies. So right there on that same screen, you see that we have 5 PDFs, and these PDFs are designed for members to utilize for their committee hearing testimonies. So a lot of times when these ConCon bills are introduced, whether it's by COS or Wolfpack or the BBA ConCon for a balanced budget amendment, whichever the type of ConCon it is, it has to go through the state's legislative committee, because these bills always, or resolutions rather, they always get sent to a committee, and then if they pass the committee, then they go to the floor at large for a full vote. So when it's in the committee process, every state has its own method for inviting the public in to come in for a hearing, where the public can either speak in favor or in opposition of a particular resolution or bill. And sometimes they can even transmit a testimony electronically in writing. They don't have to go in person, but every state's different. Most states do allow for the in-person testimonies. So we recommend that our members download those 5 PDFs. And just to go through one of them, for example, this one here is this one that I've also printed at hand. It's also on the screen. It's the legal experts, what legal experts have said about a constitutional convention under Article 5. including the actual possibility of a runaway convention. What this includes is a letter by Chief Justice Warren Burger, Supreme Court Chief Justice, an article from Justice Arthur Goldberg that appeared in the Miami Herald back in 1986, where he warned against a constitutional convention. And then there are a host of academic articles, at least the key excerpts, like this, the key 2 pages here, and letters from various law professors that are well regarded, like Professor Lawrence Tribe from Harvard University, a memo that he wrote warning about the dangers or pitfalls of a constitutional convention, how it really can't be controlled, that it can't be limited. And there's a whole host of other letters here from other law professors warning, likewise, about a convention. So we don't expect members to read every single word in that. They can if they want to, if they have the time, but they're under no obligation to read all that. But the purpose of that information is to present it to the legislators when they're going to go to their testimony hearing, and they have 2 minutes to talk on whatever aspect they're going to talk about in opposition to a ConCon or convention of states. They can tell the legislators, experts agree that this is a bad idea, and they can hand this to the members of the committee, make copies to them, or email it to them, and they can pass it on electronically. So every member of that committee can have the same information and see what other experts have said in terms of this is a bad idea. The second document is the ConCon, a legal expert opinion by William J. Olson and Herbert W. Titus. And this is a document that's, well, those are the 2 authors I just mentioned. But Bill Olson, he served in 3 positions in the Reagan administration. And Herb Titus, who's since passed away, has taught constitutional law for 26 years. And this is a great article that really gets in depth about why a ConCon is a bad idea. So it's not just JBS saying it. We have legal, authoritative experts that have opposed this. So these are all great materials to present to legislators, to educate them. And then we have some historical documents that prove that the Convention of Philadelphia, the 1787 one, that was a runaway convention. Because those who advocate for the Article 5 convention, as you know, they say, oh, it wasn't a runaway convention. And yes, it was, because you could read here, you can click on that, and you can give this to the legislators if it comes up, showing them that the original resolutions from the states gave the delegates limited authority. Basically, they only had the authority to revise the Articles of Confederation for the sole and express purpose of revising them, not amending it and creating a whole new constitution, which is what they did. So we have that information there as well.
Great. So when testifying before a committee, how should members prepare for that?
Now, because these committee testimonies typically can be limited in time, at least for the opposition usually, you get 2 minutes to speak while Meckler gets 40 or 30 minutes to explain why it's a great thing. So when you only have a few minutes to oppose it, you essentially have to give an elevator speech. So I would recommend that the members who go to oppose it, that they meet ahead of time. Perhaps in their chapter meeting before they're going to attend this hearing, and decide who's going to talk about what whenever the committee hearing is scheduled. Because sometimes these committee hearings can be scheduled only a day or 2 in advance. Sometimes you get a bit more knowledge in terms of how far in advance these are. But the members who do plan to go, who are at the ready to be able to go to these committee hearings, should decide among themselves, okay, 4 of us are going down. John, you talk about this part of Article 5 and why it's a bad idea. Jimmy, you discuss this little this point here. So then that way, if you're limited in time to only a few minutes, and you have a group of 4 or 5 people or more, the more the better, obviously. You could repeat certain points, but if you only have a small number of people, each one can hit a different point. So then at the end, all the aspects could have hopefully been covered in the time span allowed.
That's great advice, Christian. Thank you. Remember, your part matters. Until next time, keep birching. For more information, or even better yet, to get involved, go to jbs.org or call us directly at 1-800-JBS-USA1.